We have breaking news at NYU Hospital. It's being forced to evacuate tonight after its generator failed. CBS 2's Dick Brennan live on the east side of Manhattan with more on this developing situation.
Well, what happened here was after the area got blacked out, the backup generator failed. Nobody seems to know why, but the hospital had to move fast because patients had to be moved.
Wow. I didn't even remember half of that. It all goes by in such a blur. I was in the newsroom and the idea was to get me out there to a bad spot. Of course, it was still early in the afternoon. It was only about 4:30. The storm wasn't hitting hard yet. The idea was, let's see where it hits and then we go there. Well, it hit right down the block. A crane came down in the wind on 57th Street where we are. And so I was there very quickly. But even then, we were getting some rain, but not heavy duty rain at all. In fact, I remember we did a live shot there and I'm not sure we even had an umbrella. But slowly but surely it built. And then in a few hours, we have flooding in lower Manhattan, and that would have been the first place they shot me out of a cannon to, which is what we usually do every night. You're out of a cannon into where the worst is. And we're told, wait, you gotta go to the hospital. I said, once again, guys, what could be more important than lower Manhattan literally flooding away? And they said, no, there's a serious incident going on at NYU Langone, maybe an evacuation. That's about all we have. We are seeing something here that not only doesn't happen every day, it happens once in a lifetime, and hopefully only once in a lifetime.
About 8 o'clock, we lost power. And I remember, because I've worked there so many years, I was like, oh, the power will come back on. I've been through this several times. It like bleeps out, and then the backup generator comes. So it did. The power came back on. And then about 5 minutes later, it went out again. That's when we had to start figuring out what the plan was.
I first went into the lobby and it was pretty much total chaos. There were breaks between literally moving people out. It was hard to see when that was happening. You'd see an ambulance leave and then you know, of course, somebody had just gotten wheeled out. But it wasn't a continuous thing until a little later. When I began to understand what happened is when I literally hooked up with Dr. John LaPook, and you guys have seen the video.
This is something that's really, you can't really prepare for this. You have a system, then you have a backup system to that system. And of course, if there's a cataclysmic event that causes flooding and then the backup system goes down.
The most unusual part of the whole equation was that he comes up behind the camera. And, you know, I'm just talking. And so part of your brain is concentrating on the camera and what you're saying. The second part of my brain is someone is standing there who really wants to talk to me. I can't really make out who it is right away. And I think I say on camera, excuse me, sir. And I said, I know you have some information or something to that effect. And then he comes up to me. And Dr. LaPook.
I mean, I happen to be from Columbia. I heard it was going on. I went down there, and also, of course, I'm from CBS Evening News, so I had two reasons to come down. But there were medical students there, there are residents there, there are physicians there. So, I mean, everybody's rolling up their sleeves and pitching in.
We kind of rode in with these ambulances, and I was just absolutely dumbfounded to see the response. I tried to count, and I stopped at about 50, and then more showed up. So you're probably talking between 50 and 70 ambulances.
I think we had 18 babies, Claudia?
Yeah, we had 18, maybe 20 babies,
yeah.
not that many for us at the time.
All of these pieces of equipment have backups, batteries, but the batteries only have a certain lifespan, like maybe 8 hours, 6 hours.
They've been taking some of these patients down from many floors up, and there's no elevator. So they have to be taken down very carefully, very slowly. There's more than 250 patients that have to be taken out of here, and they are doing it in such a way that it appears the whole thing is going very smoothly.
Because there were no elevators, they had to get people down the stairs. And imagine, a lot of these are critically ill people. I mean, people who you wouldn't want to move across the room, let alone carry downstairs, and then multiply that by how many people? Literally, there were hundreds of people in there, many of them critically ill, and then there were also babies.
It looked like an army moving down the steps because she was holding the baby, and then everyone around her was holding the monitors, the pump, the IV fluids, and everybody just stepped down. Yeah, the oxygen, one step at a time. Next step, next step.
That's the stairwell we went down with the babies.
I remember when we got into the ambulance, we would go down one street, there were trees down on that street, we had to double back, go down a different street, there were trees down on that, and we kept having to do that until we found like roads that were clear enough to take us to the hospital.
it was an absolute fact, and it does happen frequently in emergency situations where people are separated and they go to different hospitals. I can't imagine what any mother, any father could have been going through to be not only just worried about their baby in general, but then to not know. That can be the most terrifying and most difficult thing that anyone could go through.
I feel like we really worked very well that night. There was absolutely no panic. There was no chaos. Everything was very quietly done. People, I think, are looking for that story, right? Oh my God, pandemonium. That never happened.
No.
Everyone was really just doing what we were supposed to be doing.
You can't divorce yourself from the emotions. Part of your job is to put them aside, get your work done, but you also have to feel a story. If you don't feel a story, you're a robot, because that's what a story really is. It's about people, it's about emotions, it's about caring. In this case, it's about heroes, it's about the love of children. There are so many extraordinary things these people did, and they weren't just robotic. They did it not because, oh, this is my job. They did it because they wanted to save people. It's because they love those kids, they love their patients, and that's what the feeling is. That's what the extraordinary feeling is. Why they were doing it. I've seen it in so many situations in emergency responses. These guys and these women, they don't walk in there and say, oh, I'm just getting my job done. Frequently it's like they're feeling it too, and boy, they're the ones who are doing the real work.